fatal heart impacts, past painful scars. In fact, I blast tasteful bars and pass. I back up my actions, fact don't ask, grab reactions, jacked attack with every word, then act with class as they hear me snap. I got nothing to lose, cause I fought and felt the bruise. Now I'm not the one confused, call the shots and they produce. I ain't lost, I'm finally loose, pick a new silver excuse. I need the views to boost me to a new abuse of being used. Everybody wants a piece now, y'all can rest in peace now. You're dead to me, so peace out. Remember, you're discreet now. Get ready for defeat now.
Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kirusho here, and now, whenever we last left off, we had Deku. After 5 years of training with some very intense individuals, he's returned home. And he actually returned to Kure Village as well. He stopped by his home to see his dad, see how things were going there. However, he really wanted to participate in the Kure tournament. He knew it was going to be around this time, and he's happy he got back just in time for it. He entered as the guise of a hidden Kure, or a hooded Kure, as he fought his way to the finals effortlessly, his uncle interrupting the final battle before it even started, and the two they did fight then. People, they were quite surprised. Deku, from what they understand, he beat Ryan 5 years ago, in their first fight, or one of their many. However, that achievement alone, beating an undefeatable opponent, it's interesting. And then you actually do have where people they thought differently of Deku. They're so scared of Ryan, but after watching what Deku did once he activated his own removal, it became quite apparent. And Deku's grandfather, he knew it from the very day he was born. This baby boy, he kicked the Kure nurse in the face and broke her nose. That fact alone proves that there was something more that day. And his grandfather, he knew it. This man, he knew that Deku, he must have been it. He's the next evolution of the Kure clan. He has to be. The last evolution was a few generations ago, around 200 years ago or almost 300 years. They don't know exactly which one had it, but that was the last time the Kure evolved. The last time they noticed a significant increase to their own abilities. People nowadays in this day and age, they can run so fast, they're faster than certain cars. People can fly, they can shoot lasers, they can do anything. And the Kure clan, they got lucky. Whenever that evolution occurred, they noticed a significant increase to their own abilities. If you train hard enough, you can reach these certain feats that some people, even with quirks, can't do. It was quite crazy to them. And then there's Deku. His grandfather, he knew it. Deku, he must be able to do something crazier than that. So he's just waiting for the day to see it. If he lives long enough, that is. He doesn't believe he'll be able to do so. He's quite the old man. If he can live just a few more years, he can give Deku the Kure clan. He can pass it off to his grandson. And Ryan, he wouldn't be able to take over. Ryan, he's so focused on battle. It's crazy. He is exactly what every Kure was thought to be. Every Kure was supposed to be a battle-hardened warrior. Crazy. Unstable. And they don't want anything other than the fight. But that's just it. His grandfather, he knows that Ryan will just do that. He'll turn every Kure into that simple little thing. Fight, fight, fight. Nothing would get done. People, they'd lose jobs. A lot more things would happen. The Kure could just fall apart under his rule. But under Deku, he's seen the way this boy's acted. He's kind in his own way. And he even is more kind whenever he got back. It's just Deku, he's so much better than that. He's been able to gain control over his power and even control that urge for battle. He makes the demon bend to him, not the other way around. So, his grandson is suited to be their leader. Now, with that being said, we actually also have Deku return back home from the Kure village after meeting Bakugo. He met her because of what happened with not only the noodle shop, but with her almost being mugged by two Kure men, and Deku returning her to her hotel. Anyways, back over with Deku. Deku, he returned back home. Whenever he walked into the airport, he did actually see his father standing there. It seemed like he was in his gi, and even then, he did actually have his gloves on. His fingerless gloves, that means he must have just been at the dojo. And then you do actually have the four people who are standing there with Hisashi. You have Mina, you have Kendo, you have Momo, and then you do actually have one woman, Deku, he doesn't really recognize very well. They have black hair, short black hair. That's strange. And he did just walk up. As he got closer, he realized something. That was Kirishima. How? When did she? Her hair's not red? Now, and did someone surprise Deku? As whenever he did walk up, he did just look around. It does look like all four of them have gotten stronger. He fought Kendo before he left, and he actually does look to see Mina and Kirishima. They do look physically stronger. They've gotten a lot taller too. Huh, that's crazy. Now, Deku, he does actually go to walk up as he does see Momo, who she does immediately come stepping forwards and directly up to Deku. Deku just standing there as she does actually directly go to walk forwards and go to grab onto his shirt, as she does try to inform him that she's going to hire him right now. I'm sorry? I'm going to hire you. You are going to be my bodyguard once again. And I need that right now. What is it? Why? You in trouble? No. I wish to train. I wish to get stronger. I'm going to go to UA, and I need somebody who can push me to greater heights. I know what you're already capable of, so I need your help. Now, Deku, he does stare at Momo. Okay, she's gotten more intense. It's kind of interesting. I mean, I could, but right now I'm a little busy. Hmm? Okay, how about making an offer you can't refuse? What if I get you a fight with All Might? Now, Deku, he does fall silent to that statement, as that was just loud enough for everybody to hear. Now, it was very interesting. Karashima, her thought process, along with Kendo's and Mina's, they were like, oh god, he's going to explode. He's going to go on an entire tirade about fighting the strongest. And it's going to be long and drawn out and loud. Now, you do actually have Deku. His eyes immediately did widen at that statement, and Deku's Kure urge immediately flared up. As Deku, he didn't quite go crazy to say, but they did actually notice his reaction. Deku, he did smirk, and he did somewhat just laugh for a second. However, his laugh, it didn't sound crazy or sadistic. It sounded normal? What the hell? Yeah, I'd be interested in that. Now, this is actually kind of interesting. He's good. He's not gonna continue. He's not gonna scream, shout, let it all out. This is interesting. Now, Momo, she was also quite surprised. So you'll do it? I mean, I'm not opposed to it. But when would you be able to get that fight? We can get that later. I just want to relax. You're not gonna try and just go for it now? Why would I? I just got home. You're not going to do it, are you? I never said that. It would be cool to fight him, but I'm just tired right now, okay? We can talk later. You have my number, right? I do. But are you serious? What happened to you? You changed a bit, haven't you? I guess you could say that. I got it under control. That's all. You did? Yeah. I'm better, I guess. That's what I've been told at least. I don't really understand it. I thought I was good before, but apparently I wasn't. From what I understand, I'm more civilized, as some of my teachers have called it. I don't really understand it too much myself, but it's interesting. Now, it's quite strange to all of them, but also it's relaxing. Oh, Christ. Now, it's weird. They don't really know how to approach the subject. But, from what they understand, Deku, he's gonna get a fight with All Might. Oh boy, that would be a sight. Now, as you do have Deku walking over with Momo, you do actually have where Kirishima and Kendo, they both do somewhat come moving forwards with Mina. As they all do come to greet Deku. And it's quite surprising. They're quite surprised to see him along with his white hair. They're kind of curious about that. If you didn't really look close at Deku, you'd probably think he was an older man, but he looks too young. It's kind of strange. He has gray hairs and even white hairs. But the tips, they're just kind of completely white. Doesn't that mean something though? Doesn't that usually cause something? Is it some sort of mutation that just popped up? It could be a tiny quirk. Now, it's kind of interesting to them, and they all do somewhat think about that. Now, they do actually leave and head back to the dojo. As whenever they do arrive, you do actually have where Deku, he does find that this place, it does feel a bit different. Granted, he came here yesterday, but even then, he only just, you know, looked at the ring, saw who was training. He just wanted to pop in real quick and fight and see his dad, but, he had to get to the village. If he was late, he wouldn't have been able to enter. And even then, the kure, they have pretty strict rules about that. Now, Deku, yeah, he does just think that it's just because it's been a few years. And he's partially correct. This place has been renovated a little bit in the past few years, but really that's kind of just because of some minor damage. Now, that being said, you do actually have where everybody they do want to test their strength against Deku. Compare what they've learned to what he can do. And it will be an interesting experience. As we do actually have where Deku, he's informed all of them to come at him with the removal if they have it, or to try to use their powers against him. Now, it does seem pretty strange. Sure, some of them they know the advance, but even then, using it just for a simple sparring match, some of them have avoided it. Some of them have used it before. But the idea of all of them using it at once against Deku, won't that be too much for him? It's gotta be a bluff, really, a joke maybe. Now, Deku, he does just gotta bring up his hands in a stance, as he is in a ring. Now, I believe they do actually go to get on top of the ring, and even move inside of it. As we do actually have Momo, who Deku he's somewhat disappointed whenever she does not stand up and get into the ring. As he does ask her exactly what she's doing, and she talks about how she never learned the advance. Since that technique, it's kind of dangerous. Now, Momo, she's been somewhat careful with this. She's gone through certain steps to perform the technique, but she's never actually been able to get it going, get her blood pumping with it and feel for it. But it's actually kind of interesting to watch what does happen. As the three in front of him, they do use the advance, and Deku does watch as often they do have a sudden increase in bloodlust. Now, the three do rush at Deku, and do go for an attack. As Deku, he does quickly try to move in, and he does get in a fight with these three. And you do actually have Asashi. He's watching them all fight. Everything is somewhat in Deku's favor. And there's actually the fact that Kendo, she's barely trying to enlarge her limbs. Fact is, if she uses a giant hand, she can just swat him right out of the ring. However, apparently she's been able to gain better control over her powers. She's able to increase the size of her fist to probably at least 5 or 7 times maybe. But it's not that giant stone wall type hand. Now, Deku is fairly impressed. Her punches actually feel like something a kure would throw. And it's kind of interesting to him. And he does try to focus on avoiding her punches, since she'd be the clear problem. And you do actually then have Kirishima. Deku, he's pretty interested whenever he found out that she's learned the unbreakable skin, or unbreakable mode. Now, that combined with this technique, it did actually surprise Deku. And he did find it to be pretty interesting. She can actually take a pretty hard blow from Deku, and then could actually throw out her own and actually somewhat surprise Deku. And there is then, let's see, Kendo, Mina, or Kirishima, Mina. Now, Mina, she has actually gotten serious in these past couple of years. Since Deku, he talked about how he would not train with her. And she did even ask Kirishima for some advice. Now, you do actually have where Mina herself, she has done more training. And she's gotten a lot more serious. Right now, she's just using the advance, since if she does use her acid, there's the idea of friendly fire, hurting her teammates. And you do actually have where Deku, after taking a good amount of damage, he does actually go to back away. And he does talk about how all three of them, they've done pretty well against him so far. And that he could tell that they have actually gone a lot better. However, he will start getting serious now. Now, it was interesting for all of them to hear. Deku's going to start getting serious. They've taken a pretty good beating between all three of them. Sure, Kirishima's their attack sponge. And Kendo, she's their offense, and Mina's their distract, but he's just playing with them? No. You do actually have where Deku does come in. As he has come to throw back his fist, and directly smashes it right as hard as he can into Kirishima. As she does take the blow, there actually is whenever the skin around her body, or around her gut, and actually start to fold in and somewhat begin to break. As Deku, he immediately does go to throw her backwards, and she just go flying backwards and smashing into the elastic bands into the side of the ring. As she does so, she actually does rip the top one as the bottom one stays intact. Her legs catching her as her body is fly backwards, smashing into the bottom of the ring. Now, you do actually have Kendo, who she does could actually throw the giant fist out as she doesn't increase it to at least 15 times the size. Deku being able to catch the large hand as he does someone go sliding backwards, before actually going to push backwards against Kendo before rushing in. Now, the moment she immediately does do that, Deku he does actually go to bring up his leg and directly kick her upwards into the side, before going to actually throw down his other leg and going to bring up the other one, as he's going to spin his body around and kick her on the other side and smash her into the wall. And you do actually have Mina. Now, she does try to use her acid, and as she does go to blast it outwards, and Deku does notice the increase in her strength with her quirk, he does go to dodge. Deku being able to dodge out of the way to the right before quickly going to take 7 steps in somewhat of a half circle. Deku directly getting behind Mina within the span of 5 seconds. Before he does just going to grab her and going to bring one of his fingers up to her throat, as he asks her if she gives up. Uh, yeah, I give up. Just whatever you're going to do, don't. No. It's pretty interesting to them. And there actually is Deku. He actually had to get serious against these three. And that's the thing that's kind of surprising to him. He's trained all his life. And yeah, he's gotten a whole lot stronger, but even then, if these three are like that, if they're this strong because they want to catch up to him, they're worth training now. He could see them as potential rivals, but the sad part is, can't you only really have one? I mean, sure, there's three of them, but that's their combined effort, not individually. Does this even really count? Now, it is kind of surprising as the Sashas ask if they're all okay. As you actually have worked kendo, she was going to bring it with her hands, and at least talk about how she just needs to ice her injury. And I saw she has to go walking around the ring and asking Kirishima if she's alright. As she has to still lay there, dangling by her ankle, or, well, the back of her knee, since it's still just holding onto the ring. Now, it's kind of surprising since Kirishima is trying to talk about how she'll be fine after she just lays here for a second. Now, you do actually have Deku, who he is just wondering, asking everybody if they're thirsty. Now, they do head upstairs and get some water. As they all do sit down, and they do try to ask Deku about his journey. And Deku, he does fill them in on a little bit of things. And it's actually quite surprising to all of them. Whenever you imagine this guy training, you can imagine some pretty harsh and intense stuff. I mean, Kendo, she's been in a class he's taught before, and yeah, this guy is all no mercy, no mercy, no mercy. So it kind of speaks for itself. However, you do have right now, they learn about how Deku's been taught to control his power. He's been able to get control of it. And even then, he talks about the stress of not being able to fight, and exactly what that can do to a kure mind. Now, they do seem to be quite intrigued. The way Deku describes it, not fighting is more traumatizing than fighting. The Cures are natural, born to crave battle. Even from a young age, it does appear that the Cures, they must be coded for it, if you do want to put it that way. Now, as Deku, he does talk about his journey so far, he does ask about exactly what's been going on here in Japan. As you do actually have where Kirishima does go to speak up, talking about how a group of delinquents, after Deku left, they started forming together into a large group. And they wanted to try and gain a lot of territory for certain school areas. And yada yada yada, this, that happened, caught in the middle of a gang war between a group of kids. It's kind of surprising how him leaving led to that. And Deku does find that apparently the same girl who she had the strength quirk back in middle school, she was involved. It was kind of funny to him, but also somewhat interesting. A lot of people, after getting their, well, definition of what they look like, he can remember quite a bit of them. So, because they thought Deku controlled the city, they were not grouped together pretty big, because Deku would always find large groups and take them down. So after he left, a power vacuum happened. He didn't really expect that. Then again, that just shows exactly how dangerous people thought he was, and why no one wanted to fight him. Was he that battle hungry? He drove people to stay away from him instead of trying to challenge him? That's weird. Now, Deku, yeah, he does get the rundown, as we actually have where they do leave, and Deku, he does actually go back to his room. Him lying down in his bed as he does try to think about exactly what is going to be happening. Okay, so he's supposed to meet All Might and fight him? That statement, rolling it over in his thoughts, excites him quite a bit. But he has to try to not act out as that way. He's been somewhat taught that that's a habit cures they do have. It seems like when they're too excited, they just yell and scream randomly. So, it's got to be to do with the types of endorphins in their blood, as the doctors called it. It must be that. So, if a cure can get control over a nervous tick like this, then it must do a lot more. But there's not really a lot of evidence suggesting that. It just could be that Deku, he's overly excited. And after getting control of that, maybe he calmed down more. It could be a whole factor of things. The doctors don't understand how Curie biologics work. It's just a theory. And even then, these people, they're strange. Now, with that being said, we do actually will end off on that. Now, I do hope you guys enjoyed. Have an amazing night. I'll catch you guys in the next part.